Hello, my name is Christy Yee, and I'm a kindergarten teacher here in South San Francisco Unified School District. On behalf of my colleagues, I'd like to welcome you to South City. Can you believe it was just 5 brief short years ago that you brought home this little baby bundle of love, and now you are preparing to enter your child's first year of formal schooling? All parents ask, where did the time go? Now, this presentation is being recorded in January 2021, so it's still too early to know how the return to school will look like in August. No matter what the return to school will be, maybe it's distance learning or in-person learning, or perhaps a hybrid combination of both, we still want to support you as you prepare your child for the wonderful, wonder-filled world of kindergarten. There's so much parenting information today, books, blogs, websites, and the information is so readily available. And oftentimes the parenting advice is contradictory, and you may feel frustrated and confused. And it may sound good in theory, but it just doesn't work or it's not practical. So that's why I'm here today to provide some context and perspective. It's all about trust. Trust yourself as a parent and build up the support that you need through family and friends, pediatricians, and of course, all of us here, the teachers and principals in South San Francisco Unified. Trust your child as an individual. Your child's behavior and actions and words and developmental milestones will certainly guide you as you support their growth and development. And trust the natural process of development, physical development, social, emotional, and cognitive development. We can't interfere with that natural process. We can't make them grow any faster than they are able, but we can give them the very best conditions on which to grow and develop. There are 4 building blocks of kindergarten readiness skills, and 5-year-olds are still growing and developing and are still mastering these 4 building blocks as they enter kindergarten. And it's important for us to remember that readiness looks different for each child. And that's why we want to help you prepare your child so that they can start on their unique point in that continuum. And as long as there's growth and development, all is great. So the 4 building blocks of kindergarten readiness are health and well-being, social and emotional development, language skills, and mathematical thinking. And what's important to remember is your child's success is determined by having a balance of all 4. They are truly interdependent. In the first building block of self-care skills, this is extremely important at the beginning of kindergarten. Now, self-care includes being able to feed and to dress themselves, to wipe and to blow their own nose, to cover their cough and their sneezes, and to use the toilet independently, flush, and also wash their hands after. One of the greatest lessons that we can give our children is independence and responsibility. Self-sufficient children always grow up ready for the challenges that life presents. Motor skills include large and fine motor skills like running and jumping and climbing, and also using pencils and crayons and scissors. And of course, physical well-being includes getting plenty of sleep, healthy nutrition, and exercise and physical activity. The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends that children 4 to 6 years of age get at least 10 to 12 hours of sleep each night. And why is this all important? Because attendance is essential to academic success. We want them in school on time every day because every day counts. It's really hard because a lot of people don't realize how quickly absences can lead to academic trouble, especially in the early grades. Absent children are missing out on fundamental reading and math skills, and they're also missing that chance to build a habit of good attendance that will carry them into college and careers. Now here's the biggie, and that's social and emotional growth and self-regulation in particular. And this is one of the most important readiness skills. Self-regulation or self-control is a child's ability to control their impulses, to control their emotion and their behavior, and to understand the give and take of relationships. We know that self-regulation is a crucial life skill. It's how well children can persist and persevere at a challenging or difficult task, how well they can plan ahead, if they can pay attention, if they can tolerate frustration and disappointment, and if they're learning how to be patient and to delay gratification. And this self regulation really lays a groundwork for that emerging sense of self, which is particularly important, especially before adolescence and teenage years, and especially into adulthood. And 5-year-olds are really relying on family and parents and the adults around them for help with their regulation. But as they grow, they're becoming more independent, and that's the way we want them to be. There are so many studies around the world, across this nation, that show that self regulation and a healthy social and emotional growth is the most significant predictor of school success. And I will tell you, as a kindergarten teacher, that we spend the most time on self regulation, and it's also the hardest one to change. So that's why it deserves special attention as a high priority for readiness. So, how do we foster self regulation? Well, it's important to identify and talk about feelings and help your child imagine what others are feeling. It's really important too to give them the words and the vocabulary that they need to describe how they're feeling. We want to make sure that we show them ways to find ways to help them calm down when they're frustrated or disappointed. It's important to make time for playing with friends because when children play together, they learn to take turns and share and respect each other's feelings. It's also great to set routines and anticipate transitions because children always have an easier time cooperating when they know what to expect. So, there, we want to provide structure and predictability. It's important to also praise their effort and their hard work and their perseverance. And most important is to set consistent limits. Your child will always feel more safe and secure if he knows you are paying attention and helping him or her to behave appropriately. Clear boundaries are so important. You know, these kids come into this world not knowing how to behave, and they're trying to find out what the boundaries are, right? That's what kids do. And our job as the adults in their lives is to allow them to find the boundaries safely. And what kids need more than anything else is they need to learn how to regulate. If they're in a temper tantrum, they need a parent calm and in control in the midst of that storm, just showing them to breathe, it's going to be okay, and talking things through. They feel at that moment the quality of your presence. We're showing them intentionally what calm looks like in the midst of a storm. Now, the next two readiness skills are high-level academic competencies that many 5-year-olds are still developing. And I want to tell you that as a kindergarten teacher, I have seen kindergarten change drastically in the past 10 to 15 years. There is now a much more intentional focus on academics. And what's important now is that your child is able to use knowledge in a meaningful way and to be able to engage and think critically and deeply and to problem solve and to explain their reasoning. And that's why language skills here is one of the most important readiness skills. Language skills are thinking skills. Now, language and literacy skills include speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And the more that children hear words and practice using them, the more ready they will be to learn at school. And I do want to say something. If English is not your first language, we want you to continue to use your home language. Yes, we do want them to become proficient and learn English and to speak English well, but not at the expense of losing your home language. Your home language is an essential part of who your child is. So, a strong sense of identity helps your child to have a more positive learning experience in school and throughout life. So, how do we support language and literacy? We need to read at least 20 minutes a day, every day. Reading to them every day should be as automatic as feeding them, giving them a bath, and brushing their teeth. We need to talk and to listen while we read with them. Now, shared book reading with the interaction between the reader and the child has the greatest impact for building their literacy. A lot of parents ask me about digital books. Can I set them in front of the iPad or on the iPhone and read books? Well, if they're high quality and well produced, they're super fun and they are entertaining. But I want to caution you that they do not have the same impact as that shared book reading with a child sitting near or on your lap. There is no app to replace your lap. And the readings research across the nation, they prove that children who are read to regularly have better vocabulary gains and great concept development. And reading to your child gives them those beautiful and rich language models. And it also provides them with concept development for comprehension, the knowledge of printed letters and words, and the relationship between sound and print. So read every day, 20 minutes a day. Now, in the skill of mathematical thinking, this is another high-level academic competency. And of course, we think of mathematical thinking as all about numbers and numeracy. But mathematical thinking requires language and literacy skills as well. Again, we want them to use language in a meaningful way, or use knowledge in a meaningful way, and to be able to engage and think critically and deeply, and to problem solve and to reason. So that ability to use language effectively is even more crucial and important. So how do we help children develop mathematical thinking? By letting them explore and interact with their world. When they do that, they count and compare quantities and measure and recognize and create patterns and sort, and they classify and they learn shapes and how they fit together and all of these other strategies to solve problems. And you can do that by playing puzzles and board games, to have them help you in the kitchen while you're cooking, to measure and to count, to sort and classify objects, maybe while you're doing the laundry, or playing with building blocks and Legos, and looking at patterns in nature when you go for a walk outside, and of course, reading a lot of picture books. So those are the 4 building blocks. And now that you know what they are, I want to share the foundation upon which to build and strengthen those blocks, and that is play. Mr. Rogers said, play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning. But for children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. Parents, this world has changed and it keeps changing and it will keep changing and advancing. But remember, childhood remains the same. Childhood remains the same. That experience of play must not be undervalued or shortchanged, but rather we need to elevate it to the essential experience of childhood that it is. Play is essential for healthy child development. Now, when we speak of play, we mean pure, unstructured, creative play and not adult-directed sports activities, and certainly not computer or media gaming. Because pure unstructured play provides the greatest opportunities for children to be creative and curious and collaborative. It allows them to grow intellectually, socially, emotionally, and physically. The play experience really grows strong and resilient children. Now, children learn through play because they play and they move their bodies. Humans are meant to move, and we develop and mature our brains through movement. Play and physical movement allows the brain to integrate the sensory systems, and it also lets them calibrate the two hemispheres of the brain. So it's very and very important for academic learning. Now, imaginative creative play is best, as I said, not video games. So we want them to develop a healthy body and mind first. We need them to unplug. And let's just remember that imaginative play provides a wider range of life experiences because what they can first grasp and understand through action and through doing can later be transferred and learned in an abstract way. Now, we know it's unrealistic to have 0 hours of screen time until a certain age, so we want to aim for a healthy balance. And all of the new studies are showing that digital screen media and apps are most beneficial when an adult and a child do them together because you're scaffolding it for them. And there's a lot of dialogue and interaction and conversation about what they're experiencing. And you're helping them relating it and transferring it to a real world experience and not in a digital manner. And that goes for us too. We need to model healthy tech habits and be mindful of the quality of your presence because we need to make sure that they have our complete attention. There is nothing more important on your phone that's that's more important than what's happening in real life with your child. And we want to make sure that you remember that face to face interactions are the primary way that children learn. They learn about language and they learn about their own emotions and how to regulate them. And they learn by watching us, how we have conversations and how we read people's facial expressions. And if they miss these interactions or they don't have enough of these interactions, they really miss out on important developmental milestones. Okay? Be mindful of the quality of your presence. Now, I put together some recommended parent resources for you. And this list by no means is exhaustive, but it's a good place for you to get started if you need more information. And I'm going to post it at the end of this presentation as well. So, what's the conclusion? There really is no conclusion. It's only the next step. And far from being the conclusion, this is just the beginning of your child's learning journey. We really hope they do well in school, but we have greater hopes that they do well in life. I want to thank you so much for your time today. Good luck, and we'll see you in August.